Nah, they're not scary. And Slick, Sell, the new look Nets aren't scary because I am not sure how often we are going to look at the new look Nets. If Ben Simmons thought he had it bad with Joel Embiid, he thought Embiid was a mean big brother, wait till he partners up with Kevin Durant. Y'all got to remember, James Harden is Mr. Get Along. Who does James Harden not get along with over the course of his 13 or so year career? Nobody. Up until Kevin Durant. Who did Draymond Green on the same team, Slick, run out of there? Nah, Slick, you give me these looks.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But James Harden ain't run nobody off his squad when he was in Houston. People may have come and people may have gone, but James Harden did not run anybody in the manner that Kevin Durant and Harden ran off the squad. Y'all go back and y'all fact check all the truths of the matter.
I shall.
As much issues as Embiid and Simmons had, I'm just looking like we really expect Embiid and KD to not have an issue? Is that what we're hoping for? Is that what Ben Simmons is hoping for, that KD is going to be nicer to him than Embiid was to him? Furthermore, if we just want to talk X's and O's and talk hoops, I genuinely am curious as to who's going to be the primary ball handler. Clearly it's going to be Kyrie. So then, Ben Simmons, what's your role going to be on offense when y'all got the ball? Like, you just going to be out there getting rebounds? Like, you're not going to be the primary ball handler, nor are you going to be the primary distributor. So I don't know how it works from a basketball perspective, and I definitely do not know how it works from a team chemistry perspective. Once again, if Kevin Durant, for whatever reasons, has had issues with Russell Westbrook, Draymond Green, James Harden, 3 future Hall of Famers, Ben Simmons, it ain't going to get no easier for you from a chemistry perspective, and it's definitely not going to get any easier for you from a basketball perspective.
We're actually coming at this from 2 different directions. The answers are different, but in a way, we're the same. I would say, yes, they are scary. In the same way it's scary listening to you two talk about my Bengals, comparing freaking Joe Burrow to Dan Marino and Mac Jones and Derek Carr and Eli Manning. But I digress. Yes, they are scary. They are scary, and I'm going to leave the James Harden mess to you, Marcellus, to clear that up.
Yes.
But I got some questions there as well. Yes, they are scary. They're scary in the same way that Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant were scary. In fact, I think I've heard this song before. Wait, who was it that said this very same thing when he joined the Brooklyn Nets? Oh, yeah, that's right. It wasn't Ben Simmons. It was actually James Harden. Ben Simmons is actually stealing James Harden's material when it comes to 3 stars getting together and playing in Brooklyn. This is the same song that I heard with the Lakers and getting Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis and Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James together. And why is it? Why do I say, yes, it's scary? Why do I say, yes, they're scary? It's because everything in our imagination is scarier than in reality. And that's what we're using here. We're thinking of Ben Simmons at his best. We're thinking of Kevin Durant at his best. We're thinking of Kyrie Irving at his best. But there are so many ifs here. It's if Kevin Durant comes back, and when he comes back, will he be the same after the sprain? If Kyrie Irving can get on the floor and the mandate is lifted. If Ben Simmons can get back into shape and is mentally ready to go. Patty Mills, that his Australian teammate now, his ability to have an influence on Ben Simmons. All these things have to happen. So in the same way in our imagination that we thought the big 3 in Brooklyn was going to be truly scary, yes, same with this. But it's all in our imagination. The reality is it's going to be very difficult for all 3 of them to get on the floor. And if they do, they're only going to get at most a dozen games to ramp up before the playoffs. And is that going to be enough when you have some of the other teams in the East and what they look like? So, yes, they're scary, but they're only scary in our minds, not in reality.
Let me say this. I got to do some fact-checking, and we'll get to that in a second. But this is going to be really scary. This is going to be crazy because if you look at what Ben Simmons brings to the table, it's exactly what these Nets need, especially on the defensive end. And we already know that he's top 5 in terms of defensive rating from last year. Okay. Then he's one of the top guys in terms of assists and steals. And he has 32 career triple-doubles, 13th all-time. Okay, so Ben Simmons, Swiss Army knife. Acho's going to chime in and say it's a dull knife, but I get it. Anybody ever pull a knife on you, Acho? Dull or sharp? Yeah, you kind of step back. And that's who Ben Simmons is going to make opposing teams do. He's going to make them step back. And then if he decides to take you in transition, you got a problem. You got a 6'10" point guard coming at you. And he plays with exceptional pace. Oh, he decides that, hey, I got some shooting issues, at least as advertised. So I'm going to pass it to two dynamic playmakers and shooters in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Respect, respect. All right, fact check time. Best field goal percentage, 2017 and 18 all the way to 2021. Minimum 3,000 field goal attempts. In fifth place, we got Andre Drummond. Fourth place, Jokic. Third place, Sabonis. Second place, Giannis. Who's number one? Ben Simmons. Now, that's not shooting. That's just his field goal percentage. The dude can put the ball in the basket, especially if mentally he's engaged and mentally he's focused. Now, my last point is this. There are no real strong contenders in the East. No one that's going to make you sit there and say, whoa. I mean, you're talking about the Miami Heat? Okay, well, good luck with that. One finals appearance in the last decade, basically, 16th in points per game. Bulls, they're trying to make the playoffs for the first time in the last 5 years. Bucks, they just won, but right now, not looking like the same team as last year, but we'll see. And the 76ers, all right, we'll figure that one out. You know how Doc Rivers, when he gets up 3-1 in games and series, how that plays out. Anyway, here's my fact check. Acho, need to be on the screen.
Talk to me.
Woo! What'd you say about James Harden?
James Harden didn't run anybody off.
Okay, it's interesting. Here are what the articles say. There was a lack of interest from James Harden when he was playing off ball to the point where he wouldn't even step across half court when CP3 had the ball. They went 2 months without speaking, and then CP3, bye-bye. Westbrook, who said, quote, nothing ever starts on time, and he said that the Houston Rockets were an organized AAU team. Now, I don't know what you call running someone off, but James Harden, who wants to go out there and say, I want to just be around guys who want to win, needs to look in the mirror. And according to some of his superstar teammates of the past, sounds like James Harden's the guy who doesn't really want to win.
I think my issue here is this, Sel. The Nets, once again, to Slick's point, they're kind of the all-name team. You got Kyrie Irving, big name. Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant. Ben Simmons, top 5 in triple-double since he entered into the league. Jeez. But how do those names translate to games collectively? That is the issue. Like, we did this whole song, we wore this T-shirt, we saw this movie and this show before. If the Nets could not win with James Harden, who's a significantly better offensive player, and the Nets could not win with Kyrie and KD, are we about to be scared again, even though this Nets team is less lethal at their peak than the old Nets team? That's where I just can't get down with it. I already bought the dream, and I didn't really buy the dream. I just saw other people buy the dream. I'm not buying into this one. I'm selling it all the way around.
Get him, Slick.
I'm in the uncomfortable position of having to be on Acho's side on this thing after that Harden mess. Because, Marcellus, you didn't even bring up Dwight Howard. I mean, there is a number of names that we could talk about that Harden hasn't run. You know what? Here's the thing. Harden doesn't run them off like he's going to pull the rifle. He does the passive-aggressive. I'm going to make it so bad for you, so uncomfortable for you here that you're going to run off yourself. So technically, Acho, you are correct. He didn't run them off. He just convinced them running off was a really good idea if you're going to have to play with James Harden.
Yeah.
All that said, Marcellus, oh my goodness, way to cherry pick those statistics.
As always.
You're still talking about a Ben Simmons shooting a high percentage. And why is that? Because he will not shoot outside of 2 or 3 feet from the basket. That doesn't make you an efficient shooter. And it doesn't make you effective as a point guard in the league today. So there is that. If we're going to talk about, again, I'm going to imagination versus reality. I don't know if you guys have ever, I do this exercise because there are times where I have fears in my life. I get paralyzed by thoughts of what could happen. And what I have to do is I have to take pen and paper out and I have to write down what those fears are so I can look at them and decide whether they're rational or irrational. Now, here, let me have the full screen. Here's a rational fear. There's a rational fear of playing those Milwaukee Bucks, who you somehow just said, yeah, they're the defending champions and aren't quite playing the same way that they did a year ago. They're a game and a half out of first place in the Eastern Conference. And more importantly, their best player, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is playing better than he ever has.
Right.
What he's doing right now, shooting better, damn near 50% from three-point range in February, 70% plus from free throws, leading the league in scoring, and his assists per 100 possessions is at an all-time high. He's playing his absolute best basketball. So yes, they're sort of rounding into shape, but this is what defending champions do. They understand what it takes to win another championship, so they just kind of make sure that they're ready to go at the end of the year. They're not trying to prove anything during the regular season.
I get that.
The Miami Heat and what they've done, the Milwaukee Bucks, what they're doing, that is reality. Those are the things that I can write down. Marcellus, the things that you say that the Brooklyn Nets could do, there's no place for me to put that on the paper because they haven't done anything, and we haven't seen them do anything. Much like we never got to see KD, Kyrie, and James Harden do something.
Yeah, I get it. Look, the games aren't won on paper, even though they're won on the hardwood, which both come from trees. So let's just agree on this one, that these Brooklyn Nets, well, I'm a wordsmith. These Brooklyn Nets out here about to do something special, Slick. Let me tell you why. Because you guys are going to be late to this party. Acho is fatigued of the Brooklyn Nets to the point where he's like, y'all crying wolf. Here we go again, saying that y'all gonna be special because you got this special player. I'm tired of that narrative. I'm tired of the same actions, and then you're trying to tell me they're gonna get different results.
I wish we had a clip. I wish we had a clip of you, because I swear, Acho, I've heard the same thing. Did he not tell us we were going to be late to the Brooklyn Nets party when James Harden got there?
Yep. Well,
Then we, I mean, this is almost the exact same verbiage
Same thing.
as that.
Same thing. He used the same
Were we
notes,
late?
Slick.
Were we late to that party?
No,
Yeah, I don't know.
It got canceled.
Okay,
got rained
I
out.
wasn't around you guys in the big toe moment, but I know that your heart stopped. I know that well that when they were up 2-0 on Milwaukee and they beat them by 49 one time, and the big toe game.
You have talked more about KD's big toe than his podiatrist. I swear to God.
I'm not talking to y'all anymore. I had a good take.